All right. Well, hey, welcome to another episode of More Than Chaos. Thanks for being here with us today. If you're watching on our YouTube channel or listening on Spotify, my name is Matt. I'm one of the junior high pastors here at Eastview Christian Church in Normal and Bloomington, Illinois, Central Illinois. And I've got two of my friends here with me, two other
Hello.
junior high pastors, Jenny and Nate. What's going on, guys?
Hey,
You good?
thanks for finally letting us come on here.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have been wanting to do this.
Yeah.
Well,
We're
since
cool
Camden
now.
was on, everybody wants to be on.
Exactly.
Let's be honest.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was just
Yeah.
an earth shaker. And speaking of earth being shaken, it's cold in Central Illinois
What
today.
is happening?
I don't know what's
It
happening.
was just 90 degrees.
I wore my North Face coat today, and it was
Wow.
stupid.
Aw.
It was dumb.
Well, nothing better than waiting for the kids to have their last day of school yesterday in the freezing rain.
Yeah, that's right. It is the end of May in Central Illinois. I don't know when this is coming out, but probably around there. So today we're just going to talk about ministry. We've ended a pretty solid year of ministry, and so we want to talk a little bit about what God's done, and also just try to encourage you as parents out there. And so excited about it. So both of you are married.
Sure.
Jenny has kids.
Yes,
You got 3.
I do.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about your
Yeah,
kids.
my oldest, my son, he's going to be a junior at Normal Community High School. And then my daughter just finishing up junior high and is headed to Normal Community 2. And then my youngest daughter, she is going to be in 7th grade. So we are in the thick of it in
Yeah,
all
you are.
things junior high and high school.
Yeah, that's right. Chad, your husband?
Yeah, we've been married for almost 19 years. He's the best. He's the calm to my crazy. And I said 19 years already, but he works for the state police. So yeah, never
Yeah.
a dull moment in our house.
He is one of the calmest people I know.
Oh,
I know.
no, he can calm me down. We
All
should
right.
be here. We should
He should be on,
should be off
he should be
camera.
on this
he should
because
be here.
Nate brings chaos. Nate, tell us about
Good chaos.
Tell us about your family, like your
Yeah.
life.
So I got married almost 2 years ago. In July, it'll be
close
2
to
years.
19.
Yeah.
Getting
Yeah,
there.
it's like a fraction. I'm a math guy, and Jenny,
Yeah.
sometimes it stresses Jenny out, so I won't give you the percentage of that. But so I was raised by a youth pastor. I was always around youth ministry. And then after we got married, we moved to Bloomington Normal, and this job came along, and God made it clear that this is where we should be.
Yeah, and you've got Bubbler.
And I've got Bubbler.
Yeah,
This
so-
is not a sponsored episode, though.
I
Oh.
don't believe that that's the case. I
But
think that
Bubbler-
we want to say thanks to Bubbler for
Thank you.
possibly sponsoring this episode. In
At
the future.
least sponsoring our energy levels in the office.
Yeah,
I agree.
the hallway for
I
sure.
agree.
That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Okay, so everybody we're talking to here, you're a junior high parent, and we have a couple of junior high parents here, and then Nate will, Lord willing, be one day. But why do you do what you do? Why do you want to be involved in junior high students' lives?
Yeah, that's good. So yeah, I didn't grow up in the church, and junior high and high school were really hard years for me. I really struggled, and so I've gone to Eastview for a while and was serving in kids ministry along with my kids, and then moved up to junior high and just really fell in love with my group of junior high girls and loved what this ministry was doing and how intentional these groups were and really forming community for them and helping them to have a place to belong. And so yeah, when this opportunity came up, I was like, me.
Well, what exactly did you say?
Yeah, you sent me an email.
I did.
And I was like, do you have the right Jenny?
Right, and then
Yes,
I thought I
absolutely.
didn't. I'm like, oh shit. I don't know.
It's the
I don't know.
Yeah, right. Because my plan was like, okay, I want to work with students in education. That feels, that feels safe. That feels something I can do. But yeah, I definitely felt like, oh, I'm not qualified, right, for this. It feels a little different. But yeah, God just continued to open doors. And it's definitely something I have to daily rely on Him, right?
Yeah.
But it's been good. I love being able to love on these students and, find leaders, save people for their lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leaders are so important to what we do. You guys do a great job bringing them along. Nate, what do you like about what you do as our small groups pastor for boys?
I like a lot of things about it. Anytime we're with students is my favorite time. I like Sunday mornings, Wednesday nights, just seeing the fruit of our leaders' labor is probably my favorite part. Just coming and seeing like week to week the students grow closer and just hearing the stories of, we went laser tagging. Like we got a text last night that, groups aren't even happening anymore, but a couple leaders took their boys to laser tag and just had a great, fruitful experience. And you know, it's just nice to see men of quality pouring into young men.
Yeah, that's good. What do you? Okay, so junior high is awkward.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's an awkward period of time, which is why I think a lot of people don't want to mess with it. You know, they're like, it's a little awkward. I don't want. Let's wait until they are, in high school, and then we'll jump in there. How do you guys handle the awkward? Like in those conversations that you have, like, and even what can you say to parents that are like, I don't know how to talk to my kids right now. Like, what would you say to that?
Yeah.
Oh man, I feel like they're so much fun though too.
Yeah.
You know, in junior high, I feel like something I always try to remember is to not take things personal. Even at home with my kids, right? They'll say something or they're just very off the cuff and very emotional at times. And so like, okay, this isn't about me, what they're saying, what they're upset about or whatever. And yeah, just be open to their questions and just try and have fun with them, really. I feel like.
Yeah, I feel like the junior hires find themselves more than, I mean, we all do it, but more than most, speaking before they're thinking and just kind of word vomit, saying things they don't mean. And, you know, as far as the awkward, like, I know enough about what's going on in the world and what they're into, but not too much. And I think if you walk that line of like keeping up with the things they're into, but not like putting yourself in that same like junior high mindset necessarily, but like you keep a relation with them through what they're interested in. And so students will come up to me and be like, hey, did you see the Minecraft movie? And even though that's like not at all related to ministry, immediately, because I went and saw it with you and your son, I have this bridge to gap with them of, here's what I think about that. And then, you know, I'm not leaning all the way into like all the memes and craziness, but I have a relational tool immediately. Yeah. And so I just kind of walk that fine line every Sunday with the boys. They'll come up to me and talk to me about what's going on. And so
that's good. Last night we had a baseball game. My son and I helped coach. Actually, I'm wearing a shirt, McLean County Stingers. Hey. Let's go. And this kid, it was cold, it was rainy, and this kid like sticks his hands in his baseball bag, and I'm like, he's searching for something. I'm like, what are you looking for? He's like, I got a Hot Pocket in here. He's 7th grader, and I'm like,
Pocket?
You brought a Hot Pocket
like
to the
frozen?
game? Yeah, no, like warm. It was hot. Like he's like, he brought it to the game. I'm like, you brought a Hot Pocket to the game? He's like, yeah, man, I knew it was gonna be cold. I'm like,
does he mean like a hand warmer or like the food?
No, like the food.
Okay.
And I'm like, I walked away just kind of laughing, you know, but
Yeah.
the rest of that game, he talked to me. Like that was the first, like we'd had a few interactions, but like not many. But like for some reason, me laughing about that and him laughing about that and him just being like, yeah, you know, what's the big deal? I'm like,
that's a big thing with boys. Like junior high boys, if you kind of laugh at their jokes and play along with their games just enough, like you create a longer lasting relationship with them than you think. Like, you don't lean into it too much. You don't let them, you know, completely control or goof off all the time. But sometimes when they goof off, if you just laugh with them and be like, you know, you're a funny kid. And like, I am showing you that I love you through paying attention to what you're saying. Yeah. Something as simple as that goes far with junior high boys.
Well, it's a good reminder to parents too. Like there can be a lot of like chaos and there can be a lot of disruption in their family, but it's good to laugh with your kids. I don't know if we do that enough. I was just kind of reminded of that lately. Like, I don't know if I laugh enough with my kids. There's a lot of joy to be had. So we do have fun, but we also like want to talk about the heart and talk about the soul and what we do to try to help our students take ownership of their faith. Like what do you feel like this past year has looked like for that? And what are your hopes even for what parents can be doing to help with that each day?
Yeah. I feel like one of the really beautiful ways we've seen in the junior high ministry is students serving in different areas of the church. Whether it's on the worship team or in kids ministry or the cafe, just something that they can own and also like feel like they belong as part of the church in that. And it's not something like, you know, that they're doing with their parents, right? It's their own. And also I feel like in junior high, there's lots of opportunities in the schools, like FCA. There's other Bible studies that they can get plugged in, like with their people they want to be with. Yeah.
That's good.
There's also like the students that we see who start to take their faith super seriously in junior high, it always is as a result of them taking it home, learning about Christ and developing your faith just in this building. with us and while you're here, and taking it home and finding ways to get into the Bible on your own in your bedroom before you go to bed or something. So I would say, as a parent, if you can just find simple ways for 10 minutes a day to encourage your student to get into their Bibles just on their own, sometimes that's just an insane catalyst for taking your faith to the next step as a junior hire.
Yeah, that's good. We have busy schedules, like especially like parents of junior hires, they have a lot. And we had an 8th grader this last week tell us she was a part of dance, not Uptown. Is she Uptown Dance? No, okay,
No,
different one.
The other one.
But she said that caused her to have to miss a lot of her small group. And because of that, she had to make a decision. How do I want to grow during this time? So she talked about taking personal ownership of her faith and growing on her own as opposed to like with a group. Now, we love kids in small groups. That's what you guys do.
Yeah.
But encourage them, even in those moments of chaos, when they're distracted and have a lot going on, like you can still, like you said, like make ownership moves towards your faith.
Yeah, and then she talked about how doing that, then when she was busy, she was no longer doing dance for her own glory. She realized, like, I can be a light for Christ in this busy season while I'm busy, So that's a really big realization to come to at 13 years old, you know? So, and your kids are capable of that.
Yeah. When it comes to like their faith and their capabilities, what can you do to encourage them at home? Like, what do you try to do, Jenny, like to encourage your girls or encourage, your son to know that they're capable of growth on their own?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like when they were younger, we had these plans. We're like, every day we're doing this family Bible study. We had like, we want them to read every day. Very, this is how we do things. But we've learned as I get older, that doesn't necessarily work or stick. So I feel like, honestly, like making sure they know like how to use the Bible, like, and how that works and how to look up a verse, just so they feel comfortable. I remember I became a believer in college, and that was like the thing that held me back from small groups was like I was embarrassed that I would go in and everyone else, like, their Bible was highlighted and they knew all these things, and I was like, I didn't want to look in the in the front of the Bible. Where do I? So yeah, just helping them feel confident in that. And a big thing in our house that our kids really like is the Bible app. They're able to look up topical things on there, or they have a great section of youth devotionals in there that my girls really connect with. And they can also like have friends on there. Obviously, that has to be monitored. But and even if a parent like doesn't have a phone, I feel like that's something you could have on your phone that they could use if they wanted to get on there. Just or teen devotionals. There's lots of great ones out there. Just things that they connect with.
Yeah,
not what
good.
like I'm like you're reading this.
Yeah,
that never works.
No, and I always come at it with like a structured plan,
Right.
And that never works,
Right.
Oh
No.
my gosh, and then it's just like they just kind of look at me like, really,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like the best moments I've had with my kids about anything spiritual or God have been when they've been going through something hard, and I'm not like pulling out a verse, but I'm just like, hey, like I went through this, explaining that, just being real about my experiences and letting them know they're not alone, and really just listening to them. I mean, obviously there's opportunities to point them to Christ in those moments, but they just want you to like listen, you know, and hear them, and not just be like, oh, you shouldn't be hanging out with them, or trying to fix all these things, or like,
Yeah,
it's hard to remember that.
I'm also a fixer, so that's hard.
Yeah.
So I quit karate, and this guy, I was reading this quote this morning. He said, he's like, how did that person get to be a black belt? And the karate instructor said, a black belt is just a white belt of a person who consistently showed up. And I'm like, that's really good.
Yeah.
Like trying to help our junior hires know consistency, even though it's hard.
Yeah.
So like for me, it's like, okay, well, let's do a 12-step process, and we get to step 3, and it's like,
Right.
Off the rails.
Yeah.
But if we have like, okay, we're not going to just fix it. We're going to go on a life journey here. I think that makes it a little less intimidating.
Yeah.
It's harder for me though.
And I always tell people when they ask me about my job, like, what's one, I get asked a lot, like, what are junior hires nowadays like in this generation? I'm like, well, one thing about junior hires that hasn't changed, and Jenny touched on it for a second, is they have a really good lie detector. Junior hires can tell when you're being serious with them or when you're like fibbing, just to like, if you're telling a lie to, go along with a biblical truth, they pick up on that. Like, oh, you shouldn't be hanging out with those people. And then you like throw out a verse and then they're like, but didn't you when you were in junior high hang out? So they just have really good lie detectors. So honesty is just the best policy. I mean, in life in general, but with junior hires especially. Like, and I find that in ministry too. Like, I'll just be honest. Like, if a boy like or a young guy's like goofing off and I need him to, chill out a little bit, I'll just be like, hey man, we got this thing going on, and it would just, you'd be helping me out a lot if and I'm not going to go up there and be like, stop talking, you need to listen, because they kind of can see through a front. Yeah. So the more real you are with junior hires, the more success you have.
Yeah. They're definitely in the middle of that concrete thinking and more fluid thinking life.
Absolutely.
Where before you could say, hey, stop. Yeah. And they wouldn't ask the questions why.
Absolutely.
Even in their minds, they wouldn't, but now they are fully into that, So you go from a parent almost being like, well, I'm just going to tell you, let's be honest. Hey, sometimes we told things that weren't necessarily, they were a little off just to try to get kids to do what we want them to do, right? But now you can't do that. You have to be honest. You have to be focused on what's actually happening and why you're asking those questions or trying to get them to do what they're trying to get to do. So, no, that's good. And I even think that comes back with like scriptures. It's like, why are these important? Like, why does this matter? Well, I'm not going to just tell you to read your Bible just to read your Bible. I'm going to tell you to have personal devotions and development because it's good for your soul. It's good for it's good for everything. It's not just about rules, regulations. It's actually these principles of Jesus make our lives better.
Yeah.
And if we're honest about that, I think that changes a lot of the dynamics with it. So with parenting, with chaos, like what can we say just after a year of ministry? What can we say to parents today? Like that could maybe be an encouragement to them. I think for me, like just knowing that this generation has a lot of positives to it and a lot of hope. And sometimes we lose that. We lose that mindset towards them. So what can we say to parents today?
Yeah, I think a couple things for me would be like, they seem like they don't want you around. They push you around. They close their door. Their heads are down, but they need you more than ever. Yeah. Even if you're just around them doing what they're doing, right? They need you, and they notice when you're not. I know for sure my kids do. And as far as here at this church in our ministry, I feel like we need you too. I feel like we would love for you guys to come down that hallway and serve in some capacity. I know when my oldest came down to junior high, I was like, I had served all the way up through kids, and I was like, I'm done. Like, he doesn't need me anymore. Like, there's that long hallway, though, right? Like, that feels kind of like a separation where, like, you guys are way more qualified to be doing what my son needs, right? But being in this ministry, like, the importance and the value of having other adults pouring into these kids is huge. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be a small group leader, right? Like, we have all these events you could help in. There's plenty of things that we would love to have parents involved in.
Yeah, that's good.
I would just encourage parents that, like, the screenager doom that you hear about and you're always seeing in the news, that like their phones are going to be the end of them. Like, when you take away phones, and we have them in these activities, or we have like mother-daughter or father-daughter nights, like, and the phones get put away, like they're just junior hires again. Like, their phones, yes, are probably like going to be their biggest stressors, but at the same time, when you take that away and you get them in a room together, still the same old junior hires that have been for 100 years. Your kids aren't doomed. I'm a product of the first big screen generation, and most of my friends are okay. Like, don't let the doom and gloom of these phones and social medias are going to be the end of them. Definitely monitor those things and stuff. But I think that's the biggest stressor for parents that I hear about, as not having any of junior hires of my own. But yeah, just encourage you that, like, people are flooding to the church for identity. now. We're seeing an influx of people, and that's a good thing. And your kids can't find an identity online. They can't find an identity on TikTok, but they can go to God, and He can help them find that.
Yeah, that's good. I think like you saying that is true, because that is one of the biggest arguments, like controversies of our time, like for parents. And just I just had this conversation with this guy, I'm 45 and he's 47. And he told me, he's like, I remember when Nirvana Nevermind came out, and it was like such a beautiful thing. Like some of you out there knowing what I'm talking about, like it was my first CD, like that and Crisscross.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
First CD was Taylor Swift, so we have two
Okay,
different lives going on here.
Well, of course,
I
of
know what
course.
you're talking about.
But this dad told me, he's like, there was so much pain and like depression and sadness within like Kurt Cobain's life, the guy lead singer for
I know
Nirvana.
Kurt Cobain.
Okay, good. But there was something incredibly beautiful about that music at that time for me, and he equated it to now with phones and social media. He's like, there is so much destruction in there, but there's also a lot of beauty that's happening, like within what God's doing, within like our connections with each other. And you have to help parents and also like, but people like me, like students, to understand like there's a lot of mess, and how do you help them to filter through that? And I don't know if they necessarily have the wisdom to always do that. But if we as parents are trying to help them understand like what worlds to balance there or whatnot, that's the difficult thing.
Absolutely.
And none of us are experts. We've all read a lot, but come on. Hopefully we'll be able to see a little more. But all that to be said, like parents, I just want to encourage you today. Like there is hope, there is goodness. There's a lot of good things happening. Keep doing what you're doing. There's chaos, but keep working on it, because that's why we call this podcast what we do. It's more than chaos. There's so much more than the chaos that we do, we see. So, but thanks for being on here, guys.
Yeah.
It's good.
Thanks for having
Jenny,
us.
you made it.
We did
You
it.
did it.
We did it. We did it. So
Made the cut.
yeah. Hey, a couple of things for you to know, parents, if you're listening. We have an event on June 17th, party on the patio. It's going to be fun. Let your kids know and invite your friends. If you don't have a church family and you are in Bloomington Normal area, we'd love for you to come to Eastview, either our Bloomington campus or our Normal campus. Check out what we got going on, see what God's doing in the lives of junior hires, high school students, and just everybody here. So it'll be great. So with that, we're done.
We're done.
So, hey, thanks, guys.
Hey.
Thanks for
Praise
listening.
God,
Thanks
baby.
for watching. We'll see you next time.